Welcome to the Misfit One Lifestyles with Elizabeth Colin. She will awaken and connect with your Misfit One. Are you tired of the ups and downs in your life? Are you ready to live a healthy lifestyle once and for all? We are talking about all aspects of your life. Being fit is not just physical, it's also your mind and soul. Learn how to take steps in your life to move towards your goals. Elizabeth's goal is for everyone listening to the sound of her voice to get fit. Let's get focused, let's get intentional, and let's transform. Now here's your host, Elizabeth Colin.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Misfit One Lifestyles with your girl, Elizabeth Colin, also known as Misfit One. And I want you guys to pull up real close to your speakers because today's guest is coming in talking about something we all talk about but don't know how to bridge that gap. You in the right spot. Yeah, we're talking about racism. It's Black History Month, and we're talking about anti-racism. Mm-hmm. Are we right, Dr. Lucretia Berry? Isn't that what we're talking about today?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yes. Anti-racism. Because this is so great. You came up with a course, a curriculum.
That's right.
And they call What Lies Between Us, Fostering First Steps Towards Racial Healing. It's crazy. Like, wow, where have you been? How did I not know about you before?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wrote this, I published it, I self-published the study guide. I wrote the course in 2015 and developed the course in 2015 and self-published the study guide in 2016. And, I still teach the very fundamental aspects of that today. Like I haven't had to change it. Like we still need to understand, we need this basic understanding. Everyone does, regardless of how you've been racialized. You need a fundamental understanding of race and how it has worked as a mechanism in our society for these hundreds of years, so that we can then sit around the table, use the right words and language, understand the problem correctly, and then position ourselves to change. So yeah, What Lies Between Us has been around for that long. And I don't know why.
I know this is crazy.
Marketing is not my gift. Any marketers out there?
Right. I'm with you. Like me too, girlfriend. But you are the founder, like you created browncity.com.
It's Brownicity.
Brownicity.
Yes. It's a made up word, right? So brown. Yeah, let me tell you, it's a whole story steeped in family. So I am in a multiracial family. My husband is white, and so our daughters are multi-ethnic. And so brown represents the color of melanin. So we all are hues of brown. So my daughter told us one day, she was 4, she says, "Mommy, you are dark brown, and Daddy, you are light brown, and I'm medium brown." And so brown was our unifying word for everybody, us and all of our friends. And so that's where brown comes from. And then icity is from the word ethnicity. And ethnicity means that which we have in common. And so we are all hues of brown, and we are many hues, but one humanity. And so it allows us to have space to talk about and examine the complexities of our phenotype and our racial and social identities.
Wow. I love that. That's a lot. It's like, yeah. But once you said it, I'm saying it's a lot packed in that little word.
Yes, it is. It's a whole story. It's a whole root structure in the word brownicity.
Love it. So let's talk a little bit about you. You were a former professor, right?
I was. Yes. And this was all before I was married. I was a young PhD and was very fortunate to get to do a lot of good work. Especially, this was before even the word social justice was kind of a public popular word. And before a lot of the words now, like, critical race theory and intersectionality and white privilege, this is long before they were hijacked and weaponized. And so I was in academia and working, teaching courses in instructional technology and multicultural education, and writing curriculum for anti-racism education, and helping to create programs to increase retention in universities amongst their represented populations of students. So I, even before I was married, had been able to do sow a lot of good seed, and then even worked in digital equity before, again, it became a thing that people knew about, and worked with scholars from around the world with that. And so then I got married, and then that just whole journey took me away from academia. And then I went from, married, and then motherhood. And then I just kind of have been on, I would say, the fringe or the margins of academia. I was like an adjunct professor at a few different schools, that's why I'm having my children. And I feel like, yeah, that was when kind of roundicity concept started to come together, because I'm taking everything that I knew and had learned as a professor, and now I'm putting it to practice and watching it, come together through my family and community and wherever it is,
right,
I'm a part of. Okay.
I love that, right? Because no, girl, say what you gotta say. Don't listen. Here, you are comfortable to speak. We're gonna be open, honest, authentic. So listen, you say what you gotta say. I'm just here to be like,
okay.
But what's really crazy about it, and you said it earlier, that is a common thread, basic thing. Can we talk about that? Let's talk about that basic understanding, misunderstanding.
You mean about race and racism? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Right. So here's what happened with What Lies Between Us. And again, I'm so fortunate to be where I was in a church which is multiracial and multi-ethnic. And so many people there found that they could ask me questions about race and, get an informed, a scholarly informed and grace-filled answer. So I would hear that all the time, like, well, how come when we ask you questions, it feels so hopeful, like we can do this, or it doesn't feel like we're just all doomed to hell or whatever.
Right.
Like, who are you reading? Who are you getting your information from? And so then when the Charleston massacre happened, some women, white women, said to me, explicitly, like, okay, enough of these side conversations. Please teach us. And so up until that point, yeah, I had just been doing, like, people would call me, like, for example, I had a mutual friend connect me with a mom, so a white mom who had adopted a biracial daughter and was distraught because she wanted to do her daughter's hair the right way, right? And so I first thought, like, well, that's really brave that you call a stranger, because you don't know if I'm going to go off on you or not. But anyway, so it was that kind of thing. So I'd have people like, okay, everybody come over and then let's learn about our hair, and let's learn about hair types, and let's learn about products. So I was constantly doing that kind of thing, like inviting people over to share. So then when the women said, okay, can you teach us? Then I thought, well, of course, because my background is in curriculum and instruction. I just dusted off some lessons from graduate school, and, I just thought about what it is they needed. Like, what are the fundamental things that they need to know so that they, again, could be on the right side of history, and position themselves to change. And it would give them capacity, right, to be change makers. And so I designed a curriculum that fostered, introspection and reflection. And, it wasn't just about, oh, here's this information, digest this information. It really supports, because of course I understand, the neuroscience and how our brains are wired. So it really is this process of supporting the whole learner so that you can go from not knowing and move into knowing without walls going up or without stumbling over discomfort, or without getting into like guilt and stuff like that. So you can actually just grow and want to keep growing, even if what you were learning was a little uncomfortable. And so, I remember one of the women said, Lucretia, my mom is really sweet, but she said some racist things. She said, but I don't know, and I know she's wrong, but I don't know how to help her understand that she's wrong. And so what Lies Between Us does, and most of the courses that I do, they are helping you understand race as a social construct, as a mechanism of manipulation, and this, a set of ideas and beliefs and rules that have essentially formed and shaped us. And if we are not aware of it, we continue to manifest, race and racism. And so the course is designed to empower people with this perspective, not manipulated by this construct.
I love that because what's happening a lot of times is people don't even know when they say racist stuff. We used to, you're young, but Archie Bunker and all those, right? It's so funny to watch it now because it was so outrageous. Outrageous.
More.
But it was like we all laughed. It was on national TV. It was in everybody's houses, and that was kind of how we learned about each other, right? Because all the white people thought that all of us lived like JJ.
That's right.
Right? Because that's what they see on TV. Or the Jeffersons. You was either JJ or the Jeffersons. You were either moving on up or you was am I lying?
No, you're not lying. That's it. That's it. Yeah. And and so, and here's the thing, when I first started like teaching it in 2015 and 2016, I think I was just blown away at how much people needed this space. Like they needed this psychologically safe space to delve into this thing that impacts every aspect of our lives. But because it's so much a part of the air we breathe and the water we drink, right? It's so much a part of the fabric that it's hard to kind of put our finger on it. And so, yeah, I was blown away by how many like people of color, even like I remember a Black mom said, actually more than one Black mom said this, like she said, I thought white people got up in the morning and over breakfast just talked about how they were going to torment Black people. She said, I did not know that there was this thing called, institutional or structural racism that's actually, that are levees and pulleys put in place a long time ago that are just still doing the work today. And then so like, oh, white people are being manipulated by this thing as well. Exactly. It really was designed to manipulate white people, really, into being, implicit within. And
oh wait, you cut out. So you cut out a little bit. It was designed to be what? Because we want. This is like I'm leaning all in. I told y'all. This is what you'd be like, huh? What was it? How is it? What?
Yeah. So when it was racism was invented, or race was invented, to really manipulate white people. And I teach a high school course as well, and that's something that the kids have to understand fundamentally right away, because oftentimes, they're brought into or they're served a conversation about race, and it's always about people of color. And I'll say, well, who is left out of this conversation? And they try to name Indians. No, they addressed the Indians. Native Americans? No, they said Native Americans. Asians? I said no, they said Asian. I said, who are we leaving out? And they are really scratching their heads, and then they'll say, white people? Yes. This whole notion was invented to manipulate white people. If we can get this group of people to not align themselves with the other people, and the people in power can maintain their power. I mean, and this happened over and over. It continues to happen throughout to the day. It happens.
Turn on the news. Anything like it was my husband and I was saying this. If you did a crime and all in the news, even if it wasn't a black man, though it would put a black image up there. Mm-hmm. This was not a black man who did this. And they have been using that forever.
Yeah, it's people in power who are trying to get, I say, working and poor white people to be complicit with the shenanigans of the people in power. So if we can get y'all to be complicit, then we can continue to put unjust laws in place. We can continue to steal from you and rob from you, and take your piece of the pie
and make us the enemy.
And then make people of color, especially black people, and make them the enemy. So that's why this whole thing was invented. And so again, like I said, when I started to teach, I was just amazed at how people really took a hold of this opportunity to get this. So it wasn't, I remember an Asian woman said, oh my gosh, like I was raised racist. But she thought she was coming to the class to be like validated, I guess, as maybe a victim. And yeah, we all are victims of this ridiculous construct, this ridiculous lie. But, she wasn't ready to look at her own like anti-blackness or her own confusion around how race works and operates. And she did. And then, of course, there were, lots of white people who just, felt we've been lied to, hoodwinked, right?
Because they really don't know. It's not like they are set out to be racist, but they really do not know. And can you talk about that? Like, can you talk about some of the underlying messages that they receive that starts at birth? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's a big one, right? I mean, here's a big one. So we all have gotten this message. We all get these messages about, white people are superior, or first of all, that we're different, races of people. Like race is like a species. And so God made us these different species of people. And so then you have, white people who are superior, and then everybody else is
others,
right, based on their own particular, a different kind of hierarchy, right?
Shade of brown, that different shade
of brown. I love it. Yes, exactly. And so unfortunately, then what happens with white people, because they are the most isolated and insulated group, because they've been taught to segregate themselves. Generationally taught to segregate themselves. So then they have, like the confirmation bias, or this in-group bias, where, okay, if there's nobody ever in your group telling you differently, then you just believe, you're stuck kind of with that belief. And so, like I tell my students, especially when we're learning about why there was this need to create myths around Black athletic superiority, right? We had to create those myths because Black people are constantly being awesome humans, right? And just doing like, get out of our way, we'll be amazing. So then it kind of debunks white superiority, right? And so I'm like, well, you wouldn't need a myth of Black athletic superiority if you didn't have the lie of white supremacy in place. And so and because you don't have, like, we're over here, let's just say we're segregated over here, we're not believing that Black people are inferior. So we constantly have the opportunity to be critical thinkers about race. But if you are, in a white silo and you're being told, through media, books, school, church, that white is superior, and there's nothing wrong with that, then you don't develop the critical thinking about race. And so then race becomes something that is like a discussion or a conversation, something that you can lend your opinion to. So usually when people come to my classes, they are floored because I'm like, there's nothing opinionated about this. This is all policies, practices, beliefs that are written down, starting with the Constitution. And I'm going to walk you through so you can see all of the policies and laws that created and cultivated racism. And so people are blown away. My high school students.
Well, let me ask you this because I'm blown away. How can we get connected with you? How can we find out more?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I love using education as an invitation for transformation. That's what Brownicity is all about. And we hold space. We say we have to have a psychologically safe space to bravely learn. And so we design courses. You can, let's just say you're like, I want to take a course right now. Well, we have on-demand courses at brownicity.com. And you just go to the Learn tab, and we have a whole catalog. We have about 22 courses, and some of them are courses 5 modules, 9 modules. Some courses are just 1, depending on the topic. I would say if you want to understand race and how it works as a social construct and a mechanism of manipulation, then you would take What Lies Between Us. And I developed that one for churches. So it has a couple of scriptural references to it. But the exact same course that we use in schools and companies is called Foundations. So if you don't want to be bothered with the scripture stuff, you can just do Foundations. It's the same content. And then we have other courses as well, like media literacy. We have a course on conspiracy theory. We have a course on the neuroscience, because all of this is a part of it. Currently, one of our advisors is developing a course called The Mindful Anti-Racist. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for that one to come out, because it's help us know how to be mindful as we are moving in the stress, the beauty of this work. So, brownicity.com. So you can do courses online, or you can contact us. Like, say you want us to come and teach your staff or come teach your church, things like that. People hire us to come host our courses in their spaces.
I love it because I'm going to order me some courses. I'm going to order me some courses and do it because it is so, like you said earlier, mind-blowing, all the ridiculous lies.
Oh my God.
I did because I too was in a multiracial marriage. My kids are multiracial. My son is married to a multiracial. My grandbaby is multiracial. And it's crazy to try to teach people over and over and over what has been bred in them.
That's right. Yes.
I need some help, sister. I need to put it. I'm gonna send it as gifts. Like, hey, Merry Christmas for 2024. I'm just early. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I love the way that you are taking this very uncomfortable, unsettling conversation and put it in safe words. First of all, like, it's a safe place that you can go and read it, because they will bring their facts because they have references as well. But I love to have, girl, I'm hyped up. I'm like, ooh, I'm ready. I got to go right now because I'm going to be reading and studying about this, because it is mind blowing how it was ridiculousized on so many levels, and it's hard to talk about it
Yeah,
because it's so embedded in us.
that's
It
right.
evokes anger, fear, sadness. You know, they go, even if they're not mad, then they crying. We so sorry.
Yeah,
Right?
don't do
It's
that.
like, don't do that.
Don't do that. I do have to tell people this is not a confessional. That's why we journal. Like, I'm not here for you to apologize at. That makes you're laughing.
Don't
I
do
mean,
that. But I
yeah,
love it because it's true. And you as a professional can say that. I'm just like,
right.
what? Now
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not
Well, and that's not the work. See, because people also say people want to cry and confess. I
yes,
think yes, do that, but that's not the work.
that's
That's
not
not it.
work.
Like,
That's not
feel your feelings. That is healthy. Feel your feelings. Don't feel them at me, because that is trauma to me. But also, yes, that's
yes.
right. But also, that is not the work. That's why in my courses, journaling is a must. And I can tell if you come to class, when we're doing live classes, I can tell you didn't journal,
You
because
ain't journal.
because you process all your emotions on the paper. When you come to class and you're trying to process all your emotions, I will ask. Now, this has happened and people are blown away that I know. I was like, did you journal? Did you do your heart work? Well, no. And I said, okay, well, you can participate by listening. This is not a time for you to process, because it makes the environment toxic.
Yes.
So
Yes. I love that.
I
So
don't play.
I mean, I got to get a live class. We got to do it. We got to
Okay.
do it because this is important work, sis. This is important work. And I thank you so much. I really do. I appreciate you taking time out, talking to us today. Everybody out there listening is like, wow. Let's do this. Before I wrap it up, I want to ask you a couple of questions because, first of all, you are on Misfit One platform where everything I talk about is FIT, focus plus intentional equals transformation.
Yes. I love
And
it.
that is all you. So let me ask you, when you are doing all of this, because you were a busy mother of three, right? You're a wife, you are teaching a very tough subject.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take care of you? What does your self-care look like?
Well, first of all, I try to eat as best I can. I'm not a whatever, like, I don't have a category, but I just try to eat like a lot of fruits and vegetables,
Yes.
light on the meat. I just try to eat as best I can. I do a dance class, a mom's dance class on Thursday night at Precision Dance Center, because that has to be, I got to release and laugh at myself in the dance class. And I really do take note. Like, I'm very mindful about like feeling how I feel. It's been like right now, it's been a tough week. I mean, today I needed to be Friday today, because it's been a tough last few days. But I know when I feel this way, I need to turn on some Beyonce and shake my booty. I need to take a bath. Like, I just have my things in place. And I create. That's the number one thing. So the stuff that happened this week, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a class out of that. Like, I'm gonna solve that problem by creating a class. I'm gonna solve that problem or address that problem by creating a learning opportunity for other people. And that whole creating part is the biggest for me.
Well, you heard it right here. Listen, I love it because she said she eats the best that she could. She danced, which is moving her body, right? And she's awareness and being mindful of the moments and what she's going through allows her to create. This is like amazing sauce. Again, tell the people how they can connect with you.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram or brownicity.com, and there's a connect button. Please subscribe to our newsletter so you can know when we're doing things, and when we have, new courses, and buy my books. I have books. Buy my books.
Buy your books. Buy your books. Yes, indeed. We'll follow you on Instagram. We going over to the website. I'm signing up for the newsletter, y'all. Don't break the computer. We all trying to do it at once. You understand what I'm saying? So go ahead, sign up for the newsletter. Stay in touch, learn, and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I am so happy that you are on here today, and I can pretty much say this will not be the last.
Yay. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. This was so fun.
Yeah, it was so fun. All right, guys, until next week, live fit. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Misfit One Lifestyles. Listen, when you are fed up and sick and tired of living this stifled, overwhelmed, and overstressed life, and you're ready to live the fullest, richest, and healthiest life by gaining more confidence, more energy, and more clarity, living in your best self, you know what to do, right? Go ahead, go to my website, misfit1.com. Sign up for our online courses, Creating Healthy Habit, so that you too can live fit, focus, move with intention, and transform your life.